The morning Ethan knocked on my door, everything I thought I understood about love, time, and second chances began to quietly unravel. I remember the light first, pale winter sunlight spilling across the porch, catching the edges of the snow that blanketed our little New England town. The world outside was muted, still, like it was holding its breath. And then there he was, Ethan, camera in hand, a soft determination in his eyes. The boy who used to laugh too loud at my kitchen table now stood before me as a man. "Hey, Mrs. Miller," he said, smiling. "Mind if I take a few photos for a project I'm working on? I'm capturing truth." Truth. The word lingered. It felt like something I'd been avoiding for years. I'm Claire, 42, divorced, mother to a son who just left for college and taken the noise of my world with him. The house had grown quiet, too quiet, its walls heavy with echoes of a life I no longer recognized. Since Mark left, time had become a blur of half-drunk cups of tea, folded laundry, and long evenings I filled with silence. Still, something in Ethan's tone disarmed me. Perhaps it was his sincerity, or maybe the way he looked at me like I was more than the life I'd outgrown. Against reason, I agreed. We walked down to the frozen lake behind my house. The snow stretched out untouched, perfect, like a secret the earth was keeping. Ethan adjusted his camera, occasionally looking up, studying me as though each breath, each glance, was part of the story he wanted to tell. "Turn your head a little," he murmured. "Yes. There. Don't smile. Just be." Each click of the shutter was a pulse. Each look, a question I wasn't ready to answer. The air was cold, yet I felt warmth rising in me. The kind that comes not from touch, but from being seen. When he showed me the photos later, my breath caught. I didn't see the woman who'd been surviving quietly behind walls of routine. I saw someone alive again. Someone I had forgotten existed. "That's you," Ethan said softly. "The real you, when you stop hiding." His words found the places I'd buried deepest. Behind motherhood, behind loss, behind fear. For a moment, I couldn't speak. The fire crackled behind us, shadows dancing along the walls. The snow outside kept falling, patient and endless. "You've grown into quite the artist," I said finally. He smiled, sitting across from me. "You were kind to me when no one else was. After my mom passed, you probably don't even remember checking in on me." But I did remember. The quiet boy with red eyes, too proud to cry. The way he'd thanked me with silence. And now, here he was. A man, steady and sure, looking at me with a tenderness I didn't expect. A pause stretched between us, fragile and charged. "Can I ask you something?" he said finally. "Of course." "Do you ever feel like your life hasn't really started yet?" The question landed like a confession I'd been avoiding. "Every day," I whispered. "Then maybe it's time," he said quietly, "to let someone remind you how to live." The words hung between us, too heavy, too intimate. I stood abruptly, needing distance. But when I turned, he was closer. We didn't touch. We didn't need to. The air was already trembling with the weight of what we didn't say. "This isn't right," I murmured. "I know," he said, voice low, honest. "But it feels true." I stepped back. "You should go." He nodded, eyes soft with apology. "Keep the photos," he said before leaving. "They show the woman you are, not the one you think you've become." When the door closed, the silence pressed against me, deeper than before. On the table lay a silver necklace he'd forgotten, a small pendant that shimmered in the firelight. I picked it up, the metal cool against my skin, and for the first time in years, I let myself feel the ache of being alive. That night, I dreamed of snow melting, of warmth breaking through cold. The next morning, he returned for his necklace. I could have left it by the door, untouched, but something in me wanted to see him again. When I opened the door, our eyes met, and everything we hadn't said the day before lingered between us. "I didn't just come for the necklace," he said softly. "I didn't ask why. Maybe I already knew." We stood in the quiet, the kind that feels like the moment before something begins or ends. Some stories, I realized, aren't about crossing the line. They're about standing at its edge and understanding why it's there. Because real love, in any form, asks for courage, for restraint, for grace. And that morning, I chose to step back, not out of fear, but understanding. Ethan hadn't come to awaken something forbidden. He'd come to remind me I was still capable of being seen. "You look happier," he said as he turned to leave. "I am," I whispered. I watched him walk into the falling snow until he disappeared into white, and for the first time in years, I felt the quiet not as emptiness, but peace.